I've genuinely heard audible gasps from members of my family, me nearest and dearest, as they open their energy estimates for the next year. And they're not alone in that. And I dare say come April this year, with the energy price cap set to go up, energy bills set to double, that there'll be a collective gasp across the nation, letting out more hot air collectively than Boris Johnson over the number 10 parties and his net zero nonsense. We hear this line repeatedly, but it starts to look like one rule for them and quite another for the struggling masses at the bottom. Are we really all in this together? I'm not so sure. MPs are set to pocket a £2,000 pay rise on April 1st, the same day millions are hit by rocketing bills and a national insurance tax hike. And now, I'm no clairvoyant, folks, I'm no Mystic Meg, but I can safely predict, with more accuracy than a sage COVID model, that this will go down like a cup of warm sick, with voters experiencing real terms pay cuts. And if IPSA, the independent body that regulates MPs' pay, offers them this pay rise, I think they're going to have to legislate to refuse it. Because I bet you, were I to go up to my local high street right now, with its shuttered shops and the levels of economic disparity between us up here and places in London and the southeast, they'd think I'd lost me marbles to even be asking the question, should MPs receive more dosh than the 80-odd grand that they already get? I'd be laughed off the high street, and I think rightly so, folks. Look, I think ultimately, as it works in the private sector, MPs should be paid linked to their performance, frankly. The work you put in, the more you get out. And workers over this year are going to experience a real terms pay cut, thanks to increases in council tax, their energy bills, their food shop, putting fuel in the tank, and so on. Why should it continue to be one rule for MPs and quite another for the rest of the nation that's experiencing severe hardship? I'm afraid to say much of it is a direct consequence, frankly, of our parliamentarians' pet projects, like the trendy and alarmingly expensive net zero by 2050. We need eco-realism in this country. We need the government to recognise that it ought to scrap VAT. GB News are calling for this, and the green taxes on our bills, as well as scrapping the proposed increase in national insurance contributions. I agree with my good friends at the Taxpayers Alliance, who do sterling work. MPs ought to be paid in line with the country's economic performance. And right now, we're an economic basket case. We're borrowing what's equivalent to placing a millstone around the next generation's neck in debt. And as far as financial matters are concerned, we keep being told that those with the broadest shoulders should carry the burden. Well, I'm sorry, but MPs on over £80,000, plus expenses and the other trinkets that they get for the pleasure of being in the House of Commons, they ought to recognise that on that salary, they're among some of the highest paid earners in our country. They ought to reject this nonsense, and if not, they'll show just how increasingly out of touch the House of Commons is, and frankly the Palace of Westminster is, from the rest of us out here in the real world. I'm Darren Grimes for Reasoned UK. Thank you so much for watching this video. Reasoned is a grassroots organisation that's entirely funded by people like yourself. So if you're in a position to do so, please do consider supporting us by clicking the link to the side there.